So the book has been described as a verse novel. Can you say a little bit about how you feel about that and whether that was what you intended when you started?
Well, I loathe the term verse novel, mostly because of the verse novels that I've had to endure reading in the past. I don't see it as that. I see it as an extended, fragmented narrative in many forms and voices. So it has, I hope, the complexity, density, and weight of poetry, while also having the narrative tug of fiction. It's a large book, large for me anyway, and it's a capacious one because it allowed me to address many issues that I haven't had a chance to in conventional form poetry.
And can you say a little bit about the writing process and how it differed perhaps to previous collections?
It was utterly different. Ordinarily, I will sit down and try and write a poem, and if I succeed, that goes in a pile that increases until I have enough poems to create a collection. They will be different and disparate and hopefully share some kind of sensibility. But with this, well, I'm afraid I just started and carried on until I thought I was finished, and I had no idea how long a thing this was, but it was a kind of omnium gatherum. I could throw a lot into it that I wouldn't normally have used or thought to use in my own poetry. A lot of the concerns about, for instance, the urban environment against the rural, historical moment in America where I believe it started to fracture. And what happens to people who pass through war and come out of it with post-traumatic stress, of which most of them do. And these are just interests of mine. And then, of course, it was underpinned by my love of film noir, which gave the whole book a kind of style, I suppose.
That was my next question, actually, the amount of research you had to do and the use of film as a genre. You spoke about your character being a camera of sorts. Have you had a long-term interest in film?
I've always loved film, and I remember watching many of these classic noir films back in Aberdeen and finding them completely fascinating, and they resonated with me in a way that didn't make any sense because I wasn't coming from a large urban conurbation, certainly not an American one, but they chimed. And it was only when I left Scotland and came down to London that I completely got the sensibilities of noir. It made absolute sense to me that these cities were a place of deracinated individuals who were all seeking the refuge of the big city, the anonymity, the excitement, the glamour, the possibility. But often we're just finding isolation and paranoia. And this was all on film.